we're going to talk about the Munsters, which just came out. It's a reboot of the Munsters. And if you don't know what that is, then you have a problem, because it's the best show in the universe. Well, one of them. Anyway, it follows a family of monsters that moves from Transylvania to an American suburb. That's really all I can say about it. But this is a reboot, which is by Rob Zombie, which actually, I have to say, we've already talked about this. I'm a fan of the Munsters for sure, and I wanted to like this so much.
Now, wait a minute. Munster?
Yes.
Addams Family.
Oh, we talked about this before, and Munsters all the way for me.
Addams Family.
But I like both. But I like Munsters more. If I had a choice, I would pick Munsters any day. Yeah. Fred Gwynn. Yes. Anyway, so Rob Zombie is a huge. He's also he's a horror fan, as we know, and he loves the Munsters. In fact, he bought the car Dragula. He bought a car named Dragula, which is featured in some of the Munsters movies, like Munster Go Home.
Dragula was built off of a coffin.
Right. And so Rob Zombie has a car. I don't know if it's the car that if he bought it from the set or something.
There are dozens of Dragulas. Yeah.
So he was on Howard Stern, which I listen to all the time, and he was talking about how much he loves. Well, this is like years ago. I was listening to him talk about how much he loves the Munsters. So this is like 10 years ago, probably. But I have one question about this movie, which I'm sure you probably have the same question.
Just one?
Well, the big question is why? Why? Like, why would you with Halloween movies, for example? Rob Zombie with Halloween movies. I don't think he did a really good job with those. Why did Gus Van Sant do Psycho? Why do we need a Munsters that's a reboot? It's one question. Why?
You know, here's the problem. The problem is the chemistry that the Munsters had, and that it's particularly that the Munsters had was lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
And I don't think that the Addams Family has had a couple of good movies. You know,
no. Totally. But the thing about that though is they didn't try to reboot it. It's like, okay, that movie we saw recently, Prey, the Predator movie. Right. It wasn't a reboot. It was just a total original. Totally original.
Kept on going with it.
Which is kind of how the Addams Family, they had the same characters, but they kind of did their own thing.
Right.
It was a different storyline and all that stuff.
Well, you had a different storyline here, but
not really, because it was when you watch the Munsters, they kind of allude to the fact that they had to leave Transylvania, and Grandpa the Count was kind of the one that they followed, basically.
Right.
It wasn't like the Beverly Hillbillies where you see him roll up on the thing. No,
but none of this was right. None of it.
Well, Rob Zombie, here's the problem. I think the writing is awful. That's the biggest problem.
It's terrible. But not only was the writing terrible, the thing is it all centers on Lily's character, right? And they put everything over for her to carry it, right? She can't carry it. She can't. She only had one expression on her freaking face through the whole thing, right?
Well, that's because she was trying to remember what line she had, or she was waiting for the script reader to tell her.
She was waiting for the antipsychotics to kick in.
I have to say, I like Devil's Rejects a little bit, but I really liked House of a Thousand Corpses and Grindhouse. So I like when he does his own thing, but when he tries to remake something, he really up. That's really what
It's just massive.
It's a combination of writing and acting, and but don't you think the set design was decent and the lighting was perfect, and I like the bright colors personally.
But here's the thing. I think that you could point at each one of them and say, "Hey, look, that was a great job, and that was a great job," but I also don't know that the production design was so far out there.
That's kind of what I liked about it, actually.
Yeah, right.
It was in your
and here's the problem.
A lot of primary colors, right?
Had I been the production designer, I think that I would have let the characters, and this is kind of what the TV did. The TV the thing is
I know what you're talking about.
The neighborhood itself was just weird as right. I mean, the neighborhood itself kind of looked like the neighborhood from Edward Scissorhands, right?
Yep.
And the thing is that doesn't work. In other words, if you're going to create a normal, you have to create a normal. It's like the baseline for it was completely whacked out. I mean, the super saturated colors and the pastels in the town and stuff didn't do it any favors, because then Sherry Moon is going her own twitchy direction, and you don't see Herman until 3/4 of the way through the freaking movie.
Well, let me correct one thing though. Like I said, I like the colors, but I mean like makeup. I mean more makeup than I do background and stuff.
The thing is, I
like the green.
I don't think that there was one directorial decision
do you remember
that brought things together.
Do you remember all the times they did color for Munsters? I guess my favorite one is Munsters Go Home. Remember that one?
Yeah, right.
But like they always had that muted kind of green that was kind of. But I like the fact that they made the decision to have a really bright green, like ridiculously bright green, like primary color green.
Here's the question: how do you act over that? How do you? That's what I mean. I've had everybody saying.
Yeah, you're right.
And here's the crazy thing. I've had all these people say, and I've heard it again and again.
I see your point, actually.
I've heard people say, well, the production design was great. And I said, well, wait a minute. You're an idiot. First of all, not only are you an idiot.
You don't think that set with the lights up in the ceiling was really pretty with the... I don't know what the point was, but it was pretty.
Absolutely great. But here's the problem. You mean in the laboratory? Right?
Yeah. I'm talking about the lab.
If you're looking at this like bright lab and the lab was the size of a stadium. I mean, the thing is if you're looking at all that, then
it's a rock star being born.
Yeah, but here's the if you're a normal person watching a film, you better not start commenting on the sets and the colors before anything else, because that's an indication that somebody did a really bad job.
That's true.
But the thing is I've had people, say, well, yeah, I couldn't stand Sherry. I couldn't stand, Lily and Herman. But boy, the sets were really bright.
But see, that was me trying to come up with something that I liked about it, and that was it pretty much. I like the green, and I like the laboratory.
I understand, but there's a lot of people out there that are saying, well, the sets are great and all the rest of that. And I go,
but that doesn't make the movie good.
Just the fact that you said that means that there's a problem.
So what are you saying, man? You trying to start a fight with me?
I'm saying that you'd have to write over that and you'd have to act over that, and I don't think that anybody did.
Well, I'm just trying to point out a couple of things I liked, and that was one of them was the makeup, the green makeup, and the laboratory set. And I actually did like the. I like the Herman Munster, the guy that played him. I thought he did a decent job, but it wasn't the same as Fred Gwynn's charisma. Yeah. But I liked when he was singing in the he was in the bar and he was singing. I like that scene.
Right. Yeah.
And then I actually kind of like the Nosferatu guy. The
the Nosferatu guy.
That had kind of a What We Do in the Shadows kind of vibe to it. See, this would have been great if Taika Waititi directed this, because it would be totally different.
Because maybe you would have walked onto the set and gone, what the
Well, he would have started with a good script, probably.
Yeah.
And then would have hired people that could act instead of using his wife or somebody that, anyway.
Yeah. That's, anyway.
I do love Rob Zombie, but I think he missteps a lot.
It was abysmal. It was an assault on my sentences. It was an assault on my sentences.
Nosferatu dancing to disco? How could you not like Nosferatu dancing to disco?
Yeah, but
I think speaking of writing, I guess I need to go deeper in what I mean about horrible writing. It's not just a bad script that doesn't make sense. It's the fact that the original Munsters had a lot of subtle humor, and a lot of it was facial reactions and expressions, like very just normal acting. This is like over the top, in your face, and trying to be campy. It didn't work.
And how would you do that on one of those sets when you're
because you have to act louder than the set, right?
when you're right, when you're painted so bright green that I think
they were trying to squeeze humor out of this, and a big turd fell out, just went.
Yeah, that's I sort of got like like the 30 minutes in, I thought, oh man, God, I have to finish this thing.
I'm gonna watch Munsters Go Home to cleanse myself.
To cleanse, go back to the original. I'm gonna go back to some of the original Addams Family because they were better.
No, I think they're probably on the same level, but I just prefer the Munsters because I like Fred Gwynn and Al Lewis. Those are my two favorites, of course. But then the woman who played Lily was awesome on that show too.
John Astin and
the kids were kind of useless. I mean,
yeah.
No, the woman who played Yvonne DiCarlo played Lily.
Yvonne DiCarlo and Jones. What was her? It's not Shirley Jones.
Marilyn. There's that Marilyn girl, the one that played Marilyn. I can't remember her name.
I was thinking of the Addams Family. Who was
see, the Addams Family, I don't have off the top of my head because
Carolyn Jones.
Oh, okay.
It was Carolyn Jones and John Astin. I mean, John Astin was amazing.
Well, the best actor in the Addams Family was Thing. Which, okay, how would you like it if Rob Zombie decided to do the Addams Family? I don't think I have to ask that question. Thing would probably be a woman.
Yeah.
It'd be Sherry Moon.
Moon's hand?
Yeah.
I think I'd actually kind of appreciate that. That would be so cool.
What was that one character? There was a guy that played Floop. I know I've seen him in other stuff that Rob Zombie's done.
Floop?
The guy that played Floop.
What's a Floop?
Jorge Garcia. That's the actor's name. So he was the guy that was the big guy that was like helping with the bodies and stuff, and he was helping the evil lab guy, the evil doctor. He was helping anyway, and he had these horrible lines, and I was like, is he a bad actor, or is he just having trouble delivering these really terrible lines?
Yeah, it was.
So anyway, I think, the set. Also, I was looking through this. I found out that they actually have the current what's her name on there? The what's her name? Elvira, the woman who plays Elvira on this movie, Cassandra Peterson.
Really? No, they had Dee Wallace. Dee Wallace was the.
No, she did. I'm talking about the one that did Elvira, Chills. Yeah, Netflix and Chills with Elvira.
Okay.
So it's like the current Elvira was in this movie, and she played, Barbara Carr, whoever that was.
Dee Wallace was the.
Oh no, Cassandra Peterson was the. I have it backwards. Cassandra Peterson was obviously the actress. Barbara Carr is who she played, which I don't know who that was in the movie. I already forgot. But anyway, Dee Wallace. I didn't know she was in this. I must have missed it.
Yeah, she was the realtor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was the one that led them to their saintly home.
Are you sure that was Dee Wallace? Because I'm not seeing her in the credits. Really? Dee Wallace, by the way, my kids love this show. My kids like this show, Just Add Magic, on Netflix. And it's about these girls that cook up spells with recipes and stuff. And the grandmother on the show is Dee Wallace.
Yeah. Dee Wallace is an old friend of mine.
Dee Wallace is amazing.
I was literally just talking to her.
I would love to have her as my grandmother or my mother.
She is like one of the classic mothers, in horror film.
Well, she was in Critters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she played the Good Morning Transylvania announcer. She did the voice.
Oh, in this?
In the Munsters, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But the woman who played the realtor was some young lady.
Oh, okay.
I don't know her name. I've already lost. Oh, was it Catherine? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter at this point, does it? Oh.
Most of the time she was in that makeup, so you couldn't tell.
I did like the fact that I liked when they were at the party. I mean, so that was the kind of the one thing that you would have seen in the original. You would have seen like, oh, it's Halloween, but they don't realize it. Like
right, exactly.
Subtle humor.
And then the next day they wake up and everything's normal.
Yeah, and they'd be confused why.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was like kind of, it wasn't as out in your face. It was like more them reacting to something or being confused about something. Like Herman was always like, oh, they must be intimidated by my good looks.
Yeah,
you know.
And the thing is Lily Munster in this case couldn't look more confused than she did every moment. So, you know, I mean, there weren't shades of subtlety in.
Well, I kept looking underneath her to see if there was somebody laying on the ground, like with the script going, your line is
this. Yeah, it was, but you know, no, if I would have put a number to it,
I don't know why we have to.
I just hated it. I just never a fan of the Munsters.
I probably hated it more because I was a fan.
Yeah, that might be true. I mean, I was not neutral on it for sure, so I'm gonna say that I'm down around a 2.
I'm at probably a 1.
Yeah,
but that's only for the green makeup.
That's only for.
No, I like the choice to make it more brighter, like not muted pastel green.
And here's the thing. It should have been able to stand out, but it couldn't because everything in the film was just so bright. It was just trying to overwhelm it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So,
well,
that's you know what? There's a lesson for you right there. That's a little lesson in set decorating humility. Because I'm full of humility.
So would you have used like subtle, like muted hospital tones, or and have the characters stand out? Like you made a point earlier, but you didn't follow through with it. I think I know where you're going with it, because like in the Munster movies, when they were in color, they were wearing like Fred Gwynn would come out with a red plaid shirt and a cowboy hat or something. Like, and he would stand out from the background.
He would stand out from the background,
and that would be your focus.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I know how you think.
Yeah, you know how I think. I mean, the thing is from a production designer's point of view, it seemed like there was a cacophony going on of colors and if the town was a color, then it was pastel, and it was really pastel, and if the Munsters were bright, then they were really bright, and if there was neon and there, nothing felt real. I mean, like when you were in the Mexican restaurant, it didn't feel like it felt like you were on a stage version of a Mexican restaurant. It didn't feel like a Mexican restaurant. And what the Munsters did really well is they worked in amongst normal situations.
Yeah. I mean,
and then they could be subtle about how weirdness, affected them.
Yeah. Like Herman always tried to get jobs and somehow messed it up somehow, and
all right.
Yeah, Al Lewis kept blowing things up. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And then you had that's one thing I like about the Munsters, is that they were all weird, but then you had like the normal daughter that went to school that would bring home the boyfriends.
And the thing about the Munsters too is that there was an underlying sweetness to all of it, and I don't know that there was an underlying sweetness going on here. Because Al Lewis's role was that he was the bumbling bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? And he just was never very successful at it. But he had a default that Herman would come in and make it a good situation, right? And there's just none of that kind of subtlety or play was here.
No. And Harvey Korman was in 3 episodes. I just saw that, the original.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Harvey Korman.
It was bright.
Or Paul Lynde.
Very Paul Lynde. Well, let's just see how this is going.
Yeah, when I hear him or see him, I always think of Bewitched. That's all I can think about.
Oh, really?
Or those match games. The...
Oh, well. So what's Hollywood got to say for itself now?
See, I like those old game shows for the 70s where he's in it and you always see what's her name, Betty White.
Yeah, I always like the fact that he was so obviously gay and his gayness kind of shot over everybody's head and came back around.
Yeah, Liberace was the same way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Liberace was a kind of a little bit more nail on the head. And,
yeah, maybe.
And
maybe I'm thinking of Elton John. Elton John was a little bit more of a ladies' man for a while.
So anyway, are we done with this turkey?
I think so.
Because I'm done with this turkey.
I'm done. Paint it green, baby. We're done.